Hi everyone, it's Ms. Snow and I'm here to show you how to conduct research using the Sequoia Media Center resources. First, you'll visit the Sequoia Media Center website, which can be met by typing in is.gd/shsmc. When you're here, you'll notice the navigation along the top is static, so it should always be here, and we're going to focus on Research 2022. You can always click whichever box says research for your needs, and you will arrive at this page here. Noticing right away, we have tutorials for everything I'm saying here. In fact, this tutorial will be embedded, so you can always go back and revisit. The goal of research is to narrow down a topic, but sometimes you have to start by exploring and doing reading to decide what it is you're actually looking for or what question you are trying to answer. Let's go ahead and start with Gale. Gale is a database that includes everything from U.S. world history to a literature resource center, opposing viewpoints, articles about science, etc. And you can always do a general search right at the top. So let's go ahead and just look at the Little Rock 9. Immediately I arrive at this page where I'm prompted to enter my password, and my password is lowercase ravens. Once I'm here, I see that I have 402 magazine articles, 94 journals, books, news articles, images, etc. So while we can take a moment to look at what each of those look like, let's go ahead and first make sure that we're going to sign in with Google. This allows your account to save citations, etc. once you get your work underway. Now, let's say the bell's about to ring. I need to save this very quickly. I can just quickly send it to my Google Drive and read it later. What I also want to consider is that I can email it to myself. I can download it or print the article here, as well as have it read out loud to me. My favorite option, though, is that I can go over here and click Cite, where it will generate the citation, and I can also send that right to my drive. So let's go ahead and do that. And just to give you an idea of how quickly that works, when I open up my new tab and I click on my drive, the citation has already been inserted into a Google document for me. Now, I should keep a running list here so that I can go back and read these items later. MLA format asks that your citations are double spaced, so you would do that at the end. You would highlight everything, click format, go down to lines and spacing, and click double space. And that's what a citation looks like. Let's go back to Gale. I end up reading my article and I realize I need a little bit more about the civil rights movement as a whole beyond just what happened in Little Rock. So I come over to this Explorer area and I see that I can click all related articles. And then I can work my way through these articles depending on what looks like it will fit my needs. A large portion of research is reading, so you need to carve out time to do that. You can skim, but you'll need to decide where you need to spend your time. So I'm going to click Civil Rights Movements to see what other kind of civil rights movements here. And this is a good example of where I can show you this topic finder, because maybe I don't want to look at civil rights in the United States, but I want to look at world examples. When I click the topic finder, you'll see that it visualizes the topics in groups so that I can go ahead and say, maybe I want to look at human rights, and then I can find a variety of sources. But let's go back to Topic Finder, and let's go ahead and do an advanced search. This is where we have an opportunity to incorporate our Boolean search operators, which are and, or, and not. So you could say, I want to search for civil rights, but maybe I want to say not Martin Luther King. And I see that I'm getting much newer results. These are things from this year, and this is going to help me understand how we're approaching civil rights. So I can scroll down, and again, I should really narrow down my search before I do so. You can select peer review documents You can also select your Lexile here, which is a little bit harder at the high school level because you're not going to get much beneath a 900 Lexile. A peer review article means that it has gone through a vetting process and enough people can vouch for its authenticity, its credibility, and its worthiness in its subject area. You can then start to pay attention to different names when you're reading, and you'll see that certain universities or certain areas concentrate on different ideas. Once you get more advanced in your research, you'll start paying attention to that more. Let's look at this from a different angle. If I land on Gale, and I don't have any idea what I want to look at or read about, but I know I want to look at world history, I can simply click the widget, and I have a very user-friendly page here that lets me get some ideas. Oh, I could learn about the Mayan. I can learn about the Silk Road or the space race. I come down here and I have events, cultural trends. I have countries, cultures, and civilizations. And so if you need some help figuring out your topic, this is a really great place to start so that you can see all of your options. You might decide to go back and look at a different. You might go to the Literature Resource Center. Perhaps you're reading Frankenstein. You see I have a lot I can look at in terms of a critical essay, but I also want to hit the topic finder. This is a really great way to visualize topics around Frankenstein to see which direction you might go. If you're focusing on the author, you might focus over here on novelists. You might want to look at her contemporaries. One area I want to point out that might not be appropriate for your research right now, but is good for you to know as a teenager, is this Cameron's collection that supports teen mental health and wellness. And I want you to know this exists, even though this might not be part of your research, but you can look at this at any time. Back on the research page, you'll see if you scroll down, this now looks familiar. And this is the quick glimpse into what Gale offers. If you're an IB history student, you'll see that we've curated a collection for you in IB history, including History in Dispute, which is a series that's an excellent example of how we phrase a position paper. So if you wanted to look at the Red Scare, you can go ahead and select one of these articles, and you'll see that it's presented to you in a viewpoint approach, where you have a yes viewpoint on the topic, and when you scroll down, you'll see there's another viewpoint from which you can choose. Now you see my highlights are coming up right now. So let's go ahead and use this as an example of how to go the next step. Once I'm reading and I decide that I need to highlight something, I can go ahead and do just that. So let's just say that I'm attached to this portion right here and I want to highlight this sentence. I'm going to click it. I'm going to highlight it. And then let's just say I want to cite it. It keeps the citation of this document here, and I'm going to add a snippet. It gives me the actual words that I would put into my paper. It doesn't have the short citation for my in-text citation, but I would follow MLA format, which I'll show you in a minute, and I'm going to click Save. When I go to the top here, I see that highlights and notes, I now have one saved. So I can again view my day's work and really make my research organized and smooth. I can download this. I can send it to my Google Drive, which again, let's just go check. So it gives me the actual part that I highlight. It gave me the link back to that article to go back and revisit, and it gives me my bibliography. So as I'm writing, I can insert my citation. Okay. You also can read ebooks in Gale, and you'll see we have a large variety. So let's go back to the top of this page and let's spend a little bit of time in JSTOR. JSTOR is a little less user-friendly in that you should really know your topic before you come here. And at this point, I've decided that I want to look at the Lavender Scare. So I type in the lavender scare and I realize I have 971 results. While maybe I don't want to focus on Joe McCarthy, so I'm going to put lavender scare not. Now it gave me a much more manageable results, and now I can continue my reading. Again, you'll want to pay attention to the year that articles were published. You also want to see that you can download the PDF, you can save, and you can cite, but in this case, you actually have to copy your citation into your Google Doc. So it's great to have that citation page started. You can go down here and just add it for now, knowing that ultimately you are going to alphabetize this, and I just got lucky in this. If you want to log in, you can, and you can make a free account, and then you have a little bit more freedom to organize, and ultimately your access should be provided by Sequoia High School. It's worth noting that your research can continue on through all of these areas. You can continue your research by investigating all of the resources provided for you by the Media Center. Remember, these sources have been vetted and are generally reliable. You still need to check for the date in terms of its currency and relevance to your search. Let's take a moment and look at how we find books in the Media Center. When I arrive at the catalog page, I see all of the recently added books, including some of our ebooks, as well as links back to other state-provided resources. When I click on collections and I see all, I recognize that these mimic the physical layout of the library. In other words, these are genres that we feel are important to highlight. Many of these topics mirror those that you will meet in your curriculum. You can go ahead and search the collection at this point. In this case, I'm drawn back to my collection and it shows me what we have. Now, it's important to visit the Prezi on where you can find books to know that the Native American section is located in the fireside room. If a book has this red tab, that means it is checked out. You can always see Miss Snow to place a hold. I'll provide an updated resource for managing your own account in Follett another time. Thank you for listening.